Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone we have joining here today. My name is Ada Rodriguez, and I am an enrollment representative here at Coursera. Thank you so much for joining our webinar, Your Guide to the Online Business Degree, Meet the Grads. Today, we have the pleasure of being joined live by recent graduates at the University of Illinois, HEC Paris, Illinois Tech, and the University of North Texas. Before we get started, I would like to introduce my co-host for the day, Sarah Trail. Sarah, feel free to come off mute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Trail, and I am also an enrollment representative here at Coursera. I have had the pleasure of working in higher ed for over 17 years and am thrilled to be joining this program today. I'm so excited to be joined by these awesome and inspiring graduates. All four have proudly completed their degree programs offered 100% online in partnership with Coursera. They will be sharing their journeys starting with the application process right on through to graduation. So let's get started. As a reminder, this session will be recorded and sent out afterwards. Throughout the session, you'll also be able to submit questions through the Q&A function as the chat feature will be turned off. We will do our best to answer your questions throughout and also have a formal panel with our graduate speakers at the end of the presentation. Please note, if you are asking a question about a specific program, please include that program in your question so that we can better help provide an answer. Also, as you might remember, you were also invited to submit questions with your webinar registration. We have taken a peek at those and we'll be including those at the end of the session as well.
All right, great. Here is a look at today's agenda. We will begin with a brief discussion about the business industry and some industry stats. Then we'll hear from each of our university graduates. To close out, we will have our highly anticipated student panel along with some final information about business master's degrees on Coursera and how you can get in touch with an enrollment representative to learn more about each of these top online programs. Now, let's dive in with a business degree and industry trends overview. A business degree signals more than just industry knowledge. It reflects strategic thinking, problem solving, and leadership potential. These skills are highly transferable, making a business degree valuable across roles and industries. Business degrees students often come from a range of industries, indicating just how flexible and applicable business degrees can be. Let's take a look at the numbers on the screen. While there are currently 928,000 job openings that require master's degrees, only 26% of business professionals have one. This means a business master's might be your competitive advantage.
As an enrollment representative, one of the main problems I hear from learners is their inability to afford higher education. Many learners are interested in pursuing a degree. As you can see on our screen, 80% of working adults are interested in going back to school. However, only 40% realize their employer offers tuition reimbursement. To take it a step further, only 2% of employees actually participate in this type of employer reimbursement. So, if you're part of the 80% interested in a degree, a simple ask to your HR department might be the only thing standing in your way. Check out the link in the chat to learn more about employer reimbursement. Thanks so much for staying with us for the first part of our presentation. Up next, we have Chelsea Doman, recent graduate of the University of Illinois Gies College of Business IMBA. Chelsea, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, hola, ohoi, good afternoon, konnichiwa, minasan. It's a pleasure to speak to all of you today about the incredible experience I had pursuing my MBA. But first, I'll share just a little bit about myself. As Sarah said, my name is Chelsea Doman. I am very originally from Illinois and now live in Wisconsin. If you are familiar with US geography, that's in the Midwest, and it will sound like I haven't moved very far from home, but I actually have moved 20 times. I've lived in 5 US states and in Japan. So almost 25 years ago, I completed my undergraduate studies in linguistics and teaching English as a second language. Languages are still a passion of mine, and my Duolingo streak is just about to 3 years. I have mostly been learning Danish, but I also use it to keep my Japanese and Spanish fresh. I recently traveled to Copenhagen for the first time and got along well enough, so Duolingo seems to be doing the trick for now. As far as my career, I enjoy opportunities that allow me to learn some technical skills and to be challenged. So most of my roles have been in data analysis, IT, and in business analytics. At one time, I and a partner also started a nonprofit providing educational advocacy services. So with all that, it's probably not surprising to see on my slide here what I am passionate about. But after my presentation today, you will probably be surprised I didn't own any orange before applying to Illinois, given the amazing experience that I had. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I've touched on my career a bit already. I'll just briefly explain. The emojis represent the industries that I worked in before starting my MBA. And since very few will catch the correct interpretation of the pig, I'll just share the secret that a pig is a tool used to inspect the integrity of underground pipelines. So if you know what I'm talking about, please message me on LinkedIn and we can nerd out over magnetic flux leakage together. On the family side, I have 4 kids, now aged 20, 17, 12, and 11. My girlfriend is also pictured here, and we just celebrated our 2nd anniversary. So if you're doing any mental math, you'll see that while in the middle of my MBA, I started learning another language. I began a committed relationship, and my kids were still decently young. I also bought a 100-year-old house and changed jobs twice. I did have a very demanding full-time job, and I'm also a single parent. So a lot going on. But getting an MBA or at least a master's degree was a long time goal of mine. At one point, I was actually preparing for law school, but then my personal circumstances changed, and I eventually returned to that original goal of an MBA. I didn't necessarily think I needed it to level up, but I did want to bet on my future self. I imagined a scene in, the not distant future where a hiring manager is looking at myself and one other candidate and saying, oh, they're both just such a perfect fit, but ooh, Chelsea doesn't have an MBA and this other candidate does. So I wanted to hedge my bets that I could be the one that possibly had the upper hand down the road. I was also open to the possibility of pivoting to a new type of role. I didn't take business classes during my undergrad, so how do I know if I missed my calling in finance? Once in the program, I also wanted to do better than I had as an 18-year-old. I really appreciated the opportunity to go back to school. I didn't necessarily have a goal to get a 4.0, but I did want to be that eager old lady in the front row, ruining the curve for the 22-year-olds. So, and asking for more homework. And by the way, that I was not remotely the oldest person in the program, and there were no grading curves. So, but above all, I really wanted to maximize the experience. I waited a long time to do this, so I just wanted to marinate in the journey and not just take advantage of what was immediately in front of me, but actively seek out new opportunities. So deciding to do it is one thing, but then actually taking the steps to do it is quite another. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so I researched programs and Illinois seemed to be the best fit. Of course, I loved that it was my very original home, and then the reputation of the school speaks for itself. I also felt like with the online format, that was evidence that the Geese College of Business had a pulse on the current trends, like what was relevant now. And with that, I thought, the curriculum is probably also going to be current, relevant, timely, and immediately applicable to everything happening. But the biggest factor is that it was incredibly affordable. Being halfway through my career, a really large price tag for school would just be disproportionate to that financial ROI. So when I started my MBA, my tuition was reimbursed by my employer. I left that company with a year left in the program, and with the affordability, I was able to just fund the rest myself with my savings, and I had no debt. The second critical factor of the program was the flexibility. With having a large family, I just could not commit to traveling on site to a campus every weekend for 2 years. My kids just would not appreciate having me gone that much. So the online format ended up being the keystone to enabling my success. To talk a bit about the application process, even after all my excitement of finding this, seemingly unobtainable program with, all these things I was looking for, I stalled a bit on the timing. But in September of 21, I remotely took a course to do my BRM certificate. I enjoyed learning and listen to podcasts or watch master classes, but it's another thing to sit down and have these deadlines and try and cram this knowledge in your brain for, an end result of a test or some other goal. So that was really a great trial run to see how I could manage my family, my job, and school. It also gave me a flavor for virtual learning. So I remember waking up that first Saturday in October, and I was scrolling through my inbox because based on principle, I was not getting out of bed early. And I had an email from the University of Illinois telling me that the deadline for priority registration was that upcoming Thursday. And I'm inherently cheap, so I didn't want to pay even, the small application fee. And so I said, okay, if I'm serious about starting my MBA in January, I need to make this happen right now. And I actually checked my email archives last night, and I had an account created in the Illinois system by 8:12 a.m. that Saturday morning. So I really got to it, and the first part of my application was submitted that night before I went to bed. And then Monday I joined applicant office hours. Tuesday I made an appointment for Wednesday to talk with an admissions counselor, and all of my items were in on Thursday. And then there are 3 letters of recommendation. Those were in 5 days later. And by October 17th, so less than 2 weeks later, I had an appointment for an interview. And 2 days after the appointment, I was admitted. So it was, the application process just was as straightforward as it could be. So the actual curriculum and, student experience just was beyond expectation. I did not expect to have such a fulfilling experience with a virtual program. I loved most of the classes. Some were just fine. I truly loathed one. But they call the curriculum high engagement. And that is true, from the professors to like the breakout rooms and the live sessions, the cases, the group projects, assignments, immersions. I mean, there are virtual and in-person socials. There's just endless opportunities to feel involved and get involved. And that was just stunning since it was all online. So start to finish, I would say the program was exhilarating and exhausting in just the best way. And everything was connected. Those learning objectives of the course to the Coursera content, to live sessions, to the assignments, they all connected, and it was really relevant. I still look back on some of those notes because the information is so applicable. I had quite a few proud moments, but just to touch on a few highlights. I got to participate on a panel advising undergrads on finding success in their careers. So that was gratifying. The picture at the top actually isn't from that. That was all virtual, but I was able to moderate a panel about career pivots on another occasion. I also got to co-teach with the world's best accounting professor. I was on campus and taking his class at the time, and it was a really unique opportunity to join him at the desk in the studio for a live session. So that still is just a standout, unique experience. Um, the third picture there, every year the college puts up a new mural, and all of the names of students and faculty are in the mural, but there is no rhyme or reason to it. It is not alphabetical. There is no answer key. You have to be committed. One year it was, black print over dark blue background. So you really had to be dedicated. So every time I found my name, I was just really, first of all, happy to get to find my name, but then it just helped me feel so involved and included in a large group of learners, all committed to the cause of business on purpose. Excuse me. And then that last picture was, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. That last picture was from when I had the wonderful opportunity to go to Mexico City for an immersion. My team was so great. And even though our pitch didn't win that day, the company actually did implement our solution later. So that was also a proud moment. And then finally, it may seem like it goes without saying, but I'm really proud of myself for doing it. I did it despite my age, having 4 kids, being a single parent, working, and so much going on. So that brings us to graduation. On the next slide, please. Thank you. Graduation itself was hectic. It was during the holidays. My kids missed every single one of their parties, and we drove down in a blizzard. But it was important that we celebrate this moment together. And also, as parents, we sometimes just do what we do. And so I wanted to celebrate this with them for myself. The actual event was, somewhat bittersweet, but I was just really happy and grateful that I could travel to campus for graduation. And it may sound trite, but getting my MBA really changed everything for me. For our final capstone course, we have to do a personal reflection. So I do have an entire deck talking about everything I learned. It was a lot. I was not experienced or inept when I started the program by any means, but this just really changed how I show up at work, how I approach challenges, how I engage with people. I put a lot of myself to this, and it was worth it because I got so much in return. As with the best things in life, I never could have guessed what a challenging but wonderful experience it would be. And yes, there's a lot more happy orange in my closet. And then as for my initial goals, I crushed them.
Thank you so much for that, Chelsea. It was amazing. Before we move on to our next graduate, I would like to share a bit more about the MBA degree. This degree program has a career first curriculum and allows for performance based admissions, making gaining acceptance that much simpler. There are also courses on Coursera that stack into this program for credit. So you might already have credit for this degree with your Coursera Plus membership. One other benefit of this degree program, as well as all the degree programs from GEES, is their ability to give you the in-person experience that an online student might not always receive. There are in-person networking opportunities like iConverge, their annual event, and a ton of other student resources. Their programs are truly online by design, making everyone feel like a part of the Illinois community. Scan the QR code on the screen to book a meeting or click the link in the chat to learn more.
Up next, we have Dennis Harlow, a recent graduate from the University of Illinois, Gies College of Business, IMSA. Dennis, thank you for joining us whenever you're ready.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, wherever you're at. It's a pleasure to be here today and get to talk about the wonderful program and the University of Illinois, and just overwhelming, awesome, program, and just the whole experience. You can feel from Chelsea, and that energy and a lot of enthusiasm and different things. With me, I'm an older. I graduated with my undergrad back in 2000. So going back to school was one of those things where was not something that I always never really thought about. So a little background on me: married, no kids. We're a dog family. We have 3 dogs. We enjoy going up to our lake house in Wisconsin. So I'm located outside of Chicago in the suburbs. Wisconsin, as Chelsea said, is just pretty close by. Um, with that, when COVID hit, it was one of those things where, we were kind of locked down, and I was looking for challenges and always had a thirst for learning. Um, did some exploration with my undergrad university, and they had some online course offerings. Took a couple of those classes, and from there, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing that. My background professionally started out in banking when I was in high school. Local community bank vice president came down to my accounting class and said, we're looking for a couple tellers, and I didn't know that was going to be a changing point in my life, but ever since then, I've worked in banking, most of the time being in commercial and business banking, helping all sorts of business clients from I say from startup to IPO or becoming a public company. So I help them with all throughout all their stages. And with my background, I've worked with some complex companies, somewhere up to 50 to $100 million size companies. So when you're dealing with that, you're dealing with a lot of advanced financials and CPAs and individuals. So I had a pretty strong background in it, but was one of those things where I started exploring different programs. My university that I did my undergrad, Northern Illinois, they had some online offerings, but it just felt like it was lacking. And what I mean by that is I shortly then after found the University of Illinois Gies program, and with Coursera, it was just night and day the difference in programs with the University of Illinois. It's top rated, I believe it's either ranked number 3 or 4, depending upon the day. Top professors, some of the best professors in the field, across the board. There's the ability to have engagement. Some programs don't have the ability to where you're able to meet with your classmates or do group projects. You're fully immersed. I mean, you feel like you're almost like your classmates become your friends and colleagues, and you interact outside of class. That was one of the things that I really enjoyed about the program, and the accessibility with the professors. It was just night and day, compared to some of the other programs that I was exploring within the accounting space. Just the level of it was just top notch. And what I mean by that is the ability, there's a thing that University of Illinois offers, which is iConverge, once a year, where you can come together from if you're overseas, international, all throughout the country. People come together for a weekend to network and, just build that, the excitement and the different things with the programs and be able to feed off each other was another thing that I really enjoyed about the program. So that's kind of where I got in. Being someone that wasn't a student for a very long time, it was a little bit scary. Again, I did have the opportunity to do, a couple, classes online. So that made me a little bit more comfortable, learning different nuances. And, too, if you don't have necessarily the skill set, or maybe you say, for me, it'd been a long time since I used Excel, and you use that a lot in accounting. There's a lot of great resources. Your teachers really, or your professors set you up, if there's something that they're going to be looking at, or Chelsea mentioned a lot of analytics, they give you resources and tools that you can go and figure it out. So, if I needed to spend extra time going about learning a different topic that I wasn't strong on, I wasn't just, in the deep end trying to, paddle for life. I was able to find those resources, and there's a lot of different resources on Coursera, with Excel or different tools to be able to utilize. So I could, match that skill set to where maybe I didn't have that or I needed a refresher. So, that was definitely one of the fears that I had, and it was able to overcome that pretty easily. And it was pretty gratifying to have that. You know, with the program, I just really wanted to solidify my ability to talk with my customers. There's no guarantees in life when it comes down to, banking. Just a couple of years ago, there was a liquidity crisis. So there was, instability in the markets, and smaller banks, lost impact. So with this, I wanted to engage and build upon, my client relationships and be a value add for my clients and differentiate myself within my firm. But also, to go down the path of obtaining a CPA. Um, you know, Again, there's a great opportunity. A lot of CPAs are retiring. There's a lot of different ways that, could be a potential career pivot if that ever came to be. So that was just one of the things there. Process for getting started was super easy. The only thing that was maybe a little bit of a challenge was just being out of school for almost 25 years, trying to find those references, or like, oh man, I don't, what were my grades back then? But there's a lot of great resources in the administration and admissions, kind of help you walk you through that process. And then with, tuition, a lot of programs are flexible to where, you could take one class and then you could spread it out, over time. I finished the program in a year. It was a little bit condensed and compact. Again, my wife, my family or whatever with my doggies, it was something where I just, scheduled each night instead of watching Netflix or watching TV or doing some, things around the house. I would just focus in, a few hours a night, whether it be on classes or working on homework, and just really, disciplined myself to being able to navigate it. It wasn't much out of the ordinary. Plus, I really enjoyed the topics and going through it because it's real life what I work with in the field, as well as, a lot of background. So found it really enjoyable. Um, Tuition also too, if you're looking, different options, small credit unions. Sometimes they have some very advantageous credit lines. It was super easy, super low rates. Just providing that flexibility. My employer pays for that, but I just wanted to kind of take care of that on my own. And then again, one of the biggest takeaways and things that I love is that a lot of my colleagues or coworkers are a lot younger than I am, so I'm kind of like the OG, or when it comes to lending or different life steps, be able to really have that expertise now, after going through the IMSA program, of really knowing what the financials are, how my clients are impacted, and with succession planning, or when business owners are looking to sell, how does that impact them from tax perspectives? Am I a complete expert? Do I do it on a day-to-day? But I am very well versed to be able to help those clients out. So um, you know, those are some of the great things that I learned, and just, the network, that you build with the school just felt really like family. And, just really, really enjoyed my experience. Wish I had more time. I've been very focused into work and, helping my family. But I would love to keep engaging with past students, or helping out with like different CPA trainings and stuff like that. There's a lot of great resources within the different curriculums and programs. But just really excited to be here. And if you have questions, or it could be scary, we've all kind of navigated different experiences. So love to help anybody out if needed.
Thank you, Dennis. The IMSA is consistently ranked in the top 3 graduate accounting programs in the United States. Just like the other online degrees from GEES, this program fosters a strong community. As IMSA graduate Deepo Adipe says, the IMSA course content is a perfect fit. And I feel like I'm in an in-person setting without physically being on campus. I am already reaping the benefits and have accepted a position with a Big Four firm. This degree does not require an accounting undergraduate degree. Applicants will need to have completed at least one course in Principles of Accounting and one in Introduction to Finance. If you're missing either courses, applicants can complete an open course on Coursera to demonstrate readiness. If you're interested in this 100% online IMSA program, click the link in the chat or scan the QR code on the screen to book a meeting with an enrollment member.
Now we have Lawrence DeRee, recent graduate of the Illinois Tech MBA program. Lawrence, thank you for joining us whenever you're ready.
Hello, everybody. You hear me? Yes? So I'm excited and thank you for having me here to share my journey in Illinois Tech for the MBA Orientation Technology. So I'm a psychologist, master degree in Belgium, and I'm working and living in Belgium. And in my freelance activity, I love to give counseling in career orientation, and I have been specializing in what is my passion is leadership and emotional intelligence in the work environment. So I manage also the testing library for my faculty in my university in Belgium. I'm a mom of 4 kids, and I love discovering cultures, new things all around the technology, and to be visionary. It's important nowadays in our digital era. So I have funny thing to relate, because at 17 years old, when I finished high school, I thought I wanted to be like my uncle and jumping to economic sciences. And oh my God, it was completely crazy because I could not finish the first semester. And then I oriented to other thing. And sometimes, we realize much later that there is something that we wanted to do. We were not prepared for that. And finally, after many years, we do that. So because just of the maturity, or because as an adult, we think in another way, and we like to grow. So I'm passionate about all what is human resources, and I think that the human being has gold in their hands if the human resources and managers can figure it out. And every human is unique with grit and perseverance. If we want to go somewhere, we can. And those are the motivation drivers that make us going in new path. So I'm adventurous, curious. I love new challenges, and I was I love nature. I put myself in challenges and sometimes a little bit dangerous things like hiking during 9 hours and without having the battery in my mobile or things like that. So I like to have also memories, and the MBA definitely will be a very fantastic memory in my life. Yeah. So as I said, I was working. I have been working now for 36 years, and I began the MBA last year, January 24. And it's just crazy. Like Dennis said, it's also an emotional journey in your life. I have my work, I have my freelance activity, and I like to help people and working in all that um, that passion is a central pillar for me, to have the possibility of for every human being to be in individually or team or manager or CEO, but to have that capacity of growing the people around themselves. So yeah, my family is my kids are older than Chelsea. The youngest is still 19, and he said about me, "Mom, I'll always see you studying from my childhood." But it's very important for us to spend time also with our kids. For me, it was a priority, so I can study and learn and listening the video, driving on the beach, on the walk, on the hiking path, everywhere. So if you are motivated and if you have that grit, you just have the time and organize yourself for doing the best. So as I said, I had a background in different things already online, and in Coursera I did different things for psychology, for my domain, and also for Google Project Management. It's 3 credits valuable for some university degree. So that's fantastic because you can organize yourself for what you want to achieve. So for me, as I said, the pillar was how we can grow in a work environment. So it was a focus on the learning, and why I choose Illinois Tech. First, because for myself, it was a focus on the tech and innovation. Illinois Tech is fantastic for the professor we have. The professors are amazing because they are already in the domain, and they have so much leadership to teach, to give you all the motivation in the life events. I think that Dennis related also that it's emotionally, link with all the other people. It's so rich experience, because you can share from your background, from your experience in your business. You have all the ability to share in the team. When you work with a team, I was in for one course. I was with somebody from South Africa, another one from Switzerland. So it's just amazing. For me, it was important the credential ACSB for the business school, and also, of course, the application very easy with the pathway of the 3 credits. So you enter directly in the MBA program. The curriculum was, I loved all the courses around the technology, all around the change management, AI, the resistance of change, to change, all what makes decision in business, and the strategies for global, international. That's very useful nowadays in our technological era, exponential era. So the tuition also, it's just crazy because it is very flexible. You can pay also when you enroll to the courses. So that's very easy because you can take in advance your course in the Coursera quiz, and after that you will be able to make something, to have something in advance, and you can then studying already in the summer term for the next month, and see if that course is less easy for you, but well, you take an advance. You go fast. Anyway, so the graduation for me will be in December, because I still have I finished this month, and the goals I accomplished. Yeah, it was about all what is for my mission to help the people navigating change, CEO, managers, teams, individuals in this digital era. So that's very important for me, and that was completely helpful for me to have those competencies in business, for my freelance work on leadership, and all the changed initiatives for the people. That was very, very complimentary for my activity, and I loved it. So what I can add for the proudest moment was that passing the challenging courses for me was just crazy. My background was not in economy. So financial analysis, all what forecasting, it was challenging me. And the best thing in Coursera is the new coach AI. For every video you have a link. Every video and every course has the link to coach, and you can summarize. You can ask to summarize. You can ask, give me concrete examples, give me details about that, and then you receive that help. That's just fantastic at the moment you need to understand and study things that are not your domain. So everybody can do this, can explore, and at the rhythm, at the pace you decide. And that's just very, very good for me. That was what I needed because we have our job, we have our program, our family. We need to challenge with all that. So that's very good for me. That solution.
Thank you, Lauren, so much for sharing. Coach is definitely a great feature to take a look at. So encourage everyone to explore more on the Coursera site. Um, the 100% online MBA from Illinois Tech is noted as one of the most affordable programs for its value in the nation. With a tech-focused curriculum, it and just $15,000 tuition, it is safe to say why learners are always excited about this program. Looking to save even more? Illinois Tech recognizes prior learning credits on Coursera, allowing students the potential to save another $1,250 with courses taken using your Coursera Plus membership. Learn more about the credit for prior learning and how you might be able to save. Click the link in the chat. The Fall B deadline is quickly approaching though, so scan the QR code and book a meeting with us soon.
Next, we have the pleasure of introducing Leonard Liebig, recent graduate of HEC Paris MSc in Innovation and Entrepreneurship program. Leonard, take it away.
Yes, hey everyone. Thank you, Sarah. I hope you can hear and see me. Yeah, thanks for the invitation today amongst all the other great panelists and graduates. And yeah, happy to be an ambassador for the Masters in Innovation and Entrepreneurship at HEC Paris. So yeah, my name is Leonard. I'm a recent graduate of the MSIE program, and yeah, so really the master's program. So saying this because there are two distinct pathways. So that one is the master and the other one is the executive version. And I believe the Coursera team is going to elaborate on that afterwards. So yeah, still feels some days a bit unreal and need to remind myself once in a while. But yeah, happy to share a little bit about my story, my graduate story, my degree experience. And I can imagine that for you, choosing a master program is quite a decision. It was the same for me. So therefore, my goal is quite simple. So I want to share my journey, tell you what I learned and the impact that the MSIE had on my life. And hopefully at the end of the day, give you some inspiration and some confidence to take the leap and apply. And yeah, please feel free to reach out afterwards if you have any questions. So a little bit about myself. So I was born in Germany. So previous slide still, I'm not there. If you can jump button back. So I'm originally from Germany, currently living and working in Brussels, Belgium with my fiance and 2-year-old daughter. I have 8+ years experience in energy and tech. Fun facts, yeah, I would say the proverb, the sins of youth are paid for in old age, holds true for me. So for me, it was French language and statistics. So two topics that I was really glad to have wrapped up in high school. The French language comes hunting me now, living in Brussels, Belgium. So it's one of the most, or the dominant language here, at least next to Flemish and English. And my fiance is French speaking. So voila, I needed to dig deep and get my fundamentals back. And statistics, same thing. So I wish I would have spent a little bit more time on that when I was younger. What I'm passionate about, so sports, traveling, sculpting, social purpose initiatives, associations. So I work for the German Red Cross, for example, but I also am active as a mentor for Team for Job here in Brussels. So it's like a social organization and they help job seekers get a placement in the job market. And so far I've been mentoring 3 job seekers with 2 successful placements. So I'm really excited about that initiative and can only recommend. And technology overall. So voila, that wraps it up a little bit about myself. If we can jump to the next one. So yeah, as I said, so 8 years experience in tech and energy, but my career was definitely not a linear one. So I worked in pharmaceutical, automotive, energy, tech, IT. I entered in Indonesia for a pharmaceutical company, worked as an assistant product manager in Brussels, Belgium, then worked besides my first graduate study as a trainee for a German energy supplier, turned into consulting here in Belgium back again, and then with my current employer, which is a SaaS fintech, started as a project manager, leading large-scale software implementations, project management officer, and then currently I'm leading a team of software solution managers and analysts. So as you see, non-linear, a lot of different roles, functions, geographies, and yeah, I would say I'm more of a generalist with a technical edge. And I think some of my specialties, they're really like the driving of operational excellence, launching innovative services and products, and voila. So my previous education and I would say online learning experience, so I hold a bachelor's and master's in international business management, so classical business degree. Then given, let's say, my previous work direction, I was looking around 2019 for, let's say, online courses to dive deeper into topics like data science, computational thinking, and statistics, but also, let's say, programming language like Python. And I found all that on Coursera. So I did all those courses. Next to that, I was also looking for some on-site programs and decided to join the HEC Statistics and Business Analytics Summer Program on-site in 2019. So there was a 2-week course that I followed on-site at the HEC campus. So got to know the faculty, the campus, and really had a great time during the summer. And was looking actually for other programs from HEC, and then discovered that they were offering back then already what was called, I think, the executive certificate, which is now called the master track. So which was combining 10 courses, like the fundamental courses they're called now, and started that and wrapped them up in 2021. Back in the day, I already had the clear goal of like carrying those credits forward. So because at the time, my work experience was not sufficient for the back then executive track. And as I said, so I had the goal to already get some coursework done and so have a soft start and then afterwards apply to the real program. Goals that I wanted to achieve back then. So I knew I had a deep passion for entrepreneurship. I had some personal small ventures on the side. And I really wanted to learn more in a methodological way how to build a venture, systemize innovation, not just necessarily as an entrepreneur, but also intrapreneurial, and also connect with like-minded people. And to be fully transparent, so if at the end that would also increase my current career potential, I was more than happy with that. So voila, it was a very conscious choice at the end of the day for HEC. So if we could move towards my student experience. So I think my path into the program was probably a little bit different than some of the other fellows that studied alongside me. So because I already finished, let's say, the master track and I joined halfway, I worked completely full-time throughout the program, but also before. And I had a baby on the way. So my daughter was born in the final exams period. So that was one of my proudest moments. But back to the application. So what made me apply to HEC is really the HEC spirit and the faculty. So I got to know that firsthand. I was on campus. I talked to some of the professors. I already got to know, let's say, the program format, like studying online on Coursera, like sitting the exams, having those live sessions. So that already gave me like a really good grip on what I could expect throughout the rest of the program. I was also able to connect already with some of fellow students that also continued with the master degree that recommended go apply. Secondly, for me was a springboard to commercialize an idea or join someone who had an idea, the stackable degree option, and then lastly, the flexibility, obviously, that spoke for themselves. In terms of application, it's pretty straightforward. So the requirements, they're all available online. The admission officer or admission team, they were really helpful. They walked me through all the steps. And as I said, it really helps to reach out to some of the alumni and ask for tips and tricks. So I can only recommend that. So the curriculum itself, I would say or to a large extent, it's really, let's say, the same fundamentals as you get in a classical MBA program, yet with a special twist. So with a special character that it really blends innovation, entrepreneurship, and practical methodologies. So design thinking, venture funding, and so on. So one of the courses that stood out to me was the fundamentals of negotiation. So never had such a course before. So yeah, every week you get a case study. You are asked to play one party, and then you get mix and match with some of your fellow students, and you start negotiating. And the results, they are really mind blowing, because you go into the negotiation, you're very confident, and at the end, you're completely wrong. So that was great fun. The team project, so basically either you can bring forward an idea of your own, or you can join someone else's idea, and then throughout a 6-month time you work on a real company idea. You draft the business plan and you pitch in front of a jury afterwards. And then the thesis, so it was my second thesis that I wrote. So at first I was like, okay, another one, am I up for it? But yeah, I don't regret it at all, because again, it gives you the option to dive deeper into like a real world problem, and highlight it and light it from an academic angle. So you're either allowed to write it in collaboration with a company or fully on your own terms. And I wrote on the decarbonization determinants of the world's largest oil and gas companies. Tuition, my degree was fully self-financed. It was a deliberate choice. And I can only recommend, so from my personal experience, so maybe check in your jurisdiction whether you're able to get some tax deductions, because that was the case for me. So I was able to get a large part of my tuition fee back. And as I mentioned, so proudest moments, not academically, but the birth of my daughter, or our daughter, the project pitch, which was really humbling, because you get real life feedback from practitioners like a VC, jury, business angels. So very humbling experience from the real world on what you're ideating. So that's a once in a lifetime experience that you get. And graduated with distinction. So couldn't be more happy about that. And then my beyond the graduation. So if we could jump one. So yeah, I tried to capture a little bit the joy and how to say the day of the graduation. So as you see, I got to meet my fellow students that I saw before online in live meetings, but also late nights on the weekends when we slacked, or when we shared emails or worked on the same Word document. And that was really the pinnacle of those 2 years of dedicated hard work. And for me, was an invaluable opportunity to meet also, let's say, faculty, connect with fellow students, and forge personal connections. So since then, what changed in my life? So I got promoted within my company. I wouldn't fully attribute that just to the degree, but certainly it did help. So some of the things that I learned within the degree, I brought into my company. So some of the perspectives that I got, some of the frameworks. So yeah, fully recommend that. And then for me personally, I have to admit there were, after everything was done, so in December when I handed my thesis, I fell a little bit into a hole. So no more homework on the weekends, no more deadlines, no more exam. And yeah, I really had to reprioritize a little bit the work-life balance. And beyond that, so HEC Alumni is one of the associations that tries to organize all the alumni from the HEC Paris University. And I joined so far 3 of the Belgium events, and I can only recommend, because most likely in your area you have an HEC alumni club or chapter that is organizing events. So that's a great way to still stay connected and yeah, keep up to date with the university program. So I think that's a wrap. So was it worth it? Yes. Would I do it again? Yes. Should you apply? Yes. So, and with that being said, that's a wrap.
Thank you very much, Leonard. HEC Paris online business program offers two tracks, the Executive MSc and the Standard MSc, both in innovation and entrepreneurship. The Executive Master's degree is an 18-month program that requires a minimum of 8 years of professional experience, while the regular Standard Master's degree is a 24-month program that requires 2 years of professional experience. Both degrees do require a bachelor's degree and a design our design, to be 100% online for the working adult. Both of these programs levels include hands-on group work that you can challenge your entrepreneurial mindset and build in your professional skill sets. HEC Paris is regularly ranked the #1 business school in Europe and offers a global alumni network for all online learners. For more information, click the link in the chat or scan the QR code to book a meeting with our enrollment team.
Last but certainly not least, I would like to introduce Josh Chandler, who recently graduated from the University of North Texas Bachelor of Science in General Business degree. Josh, whenever you're ready.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. And hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you all and also represent my alma mater, the University of North Texas. Little surreal just to be able to share my journey, but happy to, and especially with Coursera and UNT being such a vital part of that. So as you can see, I'm Josh Chandler, proud UNT alum, also an HR professional based here in Dallas, Texas. I'm originally from California, so sorry if you were expecting a Southern accent, but I have been in Texas since 2015 with my wife. My degree, I was a general business major as a part of the Ryan College of Business at UNT, and it was an invaluable experience. And you'll learn a little bit more about my story here in a second. But just a couple fun facts. I had returned to school after a 10-year hiatus. The part of California where I'm from, I was from a very small community in California where there's no celebrities, no beaches, but rather just crop fields and dairies. And many there actually don't have the opportunity to earn a college degree. I think around the time I first started my post high school education, it's at around 15% actually earned a 4-year college degree. So, one of the things that was important for me is to really have a plan. Back when I had transitioned from high school, I didn't have one and honestly kind of made a mess of things. But was disciplined enough to realize that I didn't want to waste my money anymore, but instead would prefer to just kind of sit until I really understood where my education fit in my life story. So fast forward 10 years later, I did complete my undergraduate degree 100% online through UNT's general business program. Really just to kind of frame the context of my experience. When I did come back to school, I was juggling my full-time career, also plenty of life commitments. So flexibility in an online environment, it was really non-negotiable. At the same time, really just needed a lot of support ramping up back into being a student again. That's where Coursera and UNT really did a great job, really feeling like I was taken care of and really helping me navigate their online tools, but then also offer that virtual support. And then at the bottom there, things I'm passionate about. I think this is sort of the theme of my life. If there are a way I can help others, whether that's through my career, in my local community, just finding ways to get my time or my finances. I'm usually taking those opportunities. I really enjoy basketball, and some seasons it's a little easier to than others, but I still find myself playing pretty often too. And then lastly, music is a big passion of mine, and I really enjoy going to concerts and just finding new artists to enjoy. If we can move to the next slide. Okay, so like before the UNT program, so as I had mentioned, I had spent nearly 10 years in human resources, specializing as a talent recruiter. And I've had the opportunity to work with some really great people, with known brands, Microsoft, the Federal Reserve System, and then more recently, pivoting to the fashion industry, joining Fossil. My focus as a recruiter is really helping both hiring leaders as well as job seekers being able to really reach their goals. So that's where I felt like this program was very instrumental in doing that. Just learning how I can really bridge that gap, and really, ultimately find the right people and put them in the right positions. Some of the goals I would say that I had before joining the program, I would say, career empowerment was one. I really wanted the tools and the perspective, just to help people think more critically about their career path. At the same time, for those that are privileged to hire talent, doing that in a way that provides a meaningful experience, and in a broader way too. So not just thinking about kind of the tried and true ways that they've cultivated talent in the past, but what is the team missing, and how do we make sure that we have diversity of thought in all the many wonderful categories. At the same time, community impact was a main driver, kind of relaunching my education, giving back locally and beyond, being able to be that representation that I wish I had way back when I first started my college journey. So that, just reaching out and being able to have that be a part of my story and speak from a personal experience was a main motivator for me. And then lastly, just being a model for me. I have many of little younglings in my life. And then, just prove to them that no matter of whatever stage of life you find yourself in, even if that's as an adult learner, you could still achieve that goal of earning a college degree. And then family and life, I just threw it in pictures. I love to travel, so you can see me in different places with wonderful people that I love and appreciate. And then the last one there, me and my wife, she is 35 weeks pregnant, and we are expecting to add a new little girl to the mix here in December. So they're a big part of the reason why I get to share my experience today, and just love that they're represented on this slide as well. All right, next slide, please. All right, so the student experience. When I was looking at programs, my decision ultimately came down to two things. Flexibility, like I said, because I have many commitments, just a program that would allow me to be able to, complete my, sit down and complete my assignments and testing in a way that was both simple and really fit into my schedule. At the same time, I always wanted to be a student at UNT. However, logistically, their campus is about 45 minutes away from my house without traffic. So that made things a little challenging. But because of the online program, it really allowed that to be a lot more simple for me and my needs. And at the same time, I had touched on this before, but support. Just because I was relaunching my college journey, there were a few things that I really needed, just kind of someone to help me along that path. So the support from the UNT team was just outstanding from day one. In terms of the curriculum, my favorite course was managing a diverse workforce. It was incredibly relevant to my career in HR. I feel like it challenged me to become more globally inclusive, just thinking about my own practices and how I can be a better team member, especially with some of those that join our company from other regions. I would say, the knowledge I gained, it was immediately applicable to my professional life, and really was a part of some of the successes that I'll speak on later on. For tuition, I think Leonard said this too, but I supported the financial commitment to restarting my college journey. I would say that both my employer made that easier through tuition reimbursement, but then also I was eligible for a transfer scholarship that was very generous, as well as other scholarships that were available to me, just as any other on-campus student would receive if they applied and were honored with that award. And just kind of another thing, when I was comparing other options, this program, the costs were much lower, which also made the program incredibly appealing. I would say my proudest moment, I was fortunate to graduate with honors, specifically summa cum laude. I was also recognized as an online student ambassador during the ceremony. I would say that was something that was especially important for me, just because I really, I took a lot of pride in just making sure that those that did commit to an online experience still had a meaningful one, that there wasn't necessarily, it would feel different because you're online, but it wasn't different in terms of the quality of experience that I received. Next slide, please. And then graduation. I wish I had put graduation pictures here, but my graduation was a great experience. I did participate in the spring commencement ceremony alongside my peers, both online and on-campus students. It was a wonderful feeling. I was fortunate to have family in for the moment. I think that it's something that I would really look, later on in years, to be able to look back through those photos with my own, my own daughter one day. That's something that was really important for me. As far as what it changed in my career in life, I would say professionally, it gave me the tools and skills to become better at what I already did. I would say that it helped me move from being just an experienced recruiter, and leading to more of a strategic HR partner. And I was fortunate that I did also earn a promotion shortly after graduating. But I think the more compelling narrative for me is that it really enabled me just to be a better example for future generations, both in my immediate family as well as my broader community. That's why I put that picture there. That's actually my two nephews, and they had visited with us over the summer, and we got the opportunity to take them on college tours and speak from my own personal experience. And then the best part, I can confidently say I accomplished my initial goals. Definitely feel like not only did I earn a degree, and that was something that was very important for me personally, but being able to have these opportunities to actively give back and prove that academic goals are absolutely achievable at any age. That's the one thing that I want to leave you with today is, irregardless of what stage of life that you're in, and whatever kind of thoughts you're having that are reasoning your way out of restarting or starting your college journey, you can absolutely do it. I'm a living testament of that, and I hope that at least one person was able to connect with my story and find encouragement in it. So thank you everyone for allowing me to share my story.
Thank you so much, Josh, and congratulations. Um, as Josh mentioned, UNT offers a fantastic Bachelor of Science in General Business degree program where students get the opportunity to gain real-world experience with internships and applied projects. As a bonus, 75% of UNT's undergraduate learners receive some sort of financial aid, meaning that this already affordable bachelor's degree can become even more affordable. As BSGB student William says, you can't fail because you always have someone in your corner at the University of North Texas. So if you're ready to finish your bachelor's degree, like Josh and William, please explore the University of North Texas BSGB degree today.
Just before we transition into our panel, there are two more outstanding degrees we would like to share. The MSc in Management degree comes to you from the University of Huddersfield, which was ranked School of the Year by Times Higher Education Awards. This online degree allows for performance-based admissions and equips students with the mindset and adaptability needed to drive teams and organizations, even without previous management experience. As a reminder, performance-based admissions help you skip the traditional application process and lets your initial courses and performance pave the way to admission. Even better, this program does not require a bachelor's or associate's degree. Flexible study over 24 months and top educators makes this program ideal for the busy working professional adults looking to advance their careers. To learn more about this program, click the link on the chat and the QR code on the screen to book a meeting with our enrollment team.
Lastly, the Master of Science in Management, or IMSM, is the online degree that's affordable and can be completed in 12 months. After that, the degree fully stacks into the IMBA. And if you choose to do this, you'll be halfway through your IMBA. Performance-based admissions is also an option here, as well as a customizable curriculum, allowing you to focus on the areas of management and business that truly interest you. If you're interested in the IMSM, please click the link in the chat or scan the QR code on the screen to book a meeting. Now, I would like to quickly transition us back all together with our graduates as a panel. We'll get started. We have a couple of questions. I know we've gone over just a little bit. To kick things off, I would like to start by posing a question to our panel. The question that I'd like to ask you all is, how did you decide on your specific university and program, and what made it stand out? Josh, I want to start with you, please.
Okay, yeah, and I kind of touched on this in my sharing earlier, but UNT was one of the schools that when I had moved to Texas, kind of I set my sights on, and logistically, kind of reasoned my way out of that as an option. But around the time when I was ready to transfer to finish out my undergraduate degree, um, I learned about the online program and really the flexibility of being able to log in for my classes versus drive at least an hour to sit in a classroom after work hours was very enticing. One thing that I also appreciated through the application process is learning about UNC's online experiences group, where they're not just thinking about, I guess the experience from just the classes or the professors, but how do we provide that kind of that on campus experience of feeling connected to what's going on at the school, albeit in a way that is available for fully online students. So was fortunate to be an ambassador myself. Saw fielded questions from students just like myself, just around logistics of, hey, where do I go in order to get specific help, or even just so forming support groups, being able to really keep kind of a form of encouragement especially during times when it's needed. That was something that I really appreciated at the beginning of my own experience and throughout my time at UNT.
Awesome, thanks. Does anybody else want to share?
Sure. So for myself, so as I explained before, so for me, HEC Paris was a no-brainer at the time. So I already experienced, let's say, part of the program. I got to meet the faculty on campus and got to know the spirit already. So yeah, besides that, let's say the curriculum, so the basically the fundamentals of, let's say, classical MBA, yet with a specialization. So that really stood out to me. Then let's say HEC Paris is one of the world's, or is consistently ranked amongst the best business schools in the world. And then the program itself. So I saw one of the questions in the chat where someone asked about, let's say, how is it for an active entrepreneur? So the program is really, let's say, for you, Launchpad, to propel your idea forward. So it's like you get everything from the school in terms of resources. So they have ties to business communities. A lot of the professors, they have been seasoned entrepreneurs themselves, practitioners. You get access to incubators. There's Station F in Paris. So if you're like somewhat located around France, then I would also recommend to go to Paris and visit Station F or the HEC Paris campus, and then also the Career Center. That was really one of the assets that I made use of. So they also give you a lot of resources and tips and tricks. And yeah, lastly, I think the online format. So for me, I got the same quality as an on-site degree online, so fully online, and that allowed me to balance basically, yeah, full-time work role and studying, and also handling private life. So voila. So I think
That's
that's
awesome. Thank you so much, Leonard. Ada, I'm going to kick it to you for the next question.
Yes, thank you so very much. I know that Dennis had to drop off the meeting a little bit earlier today, but we do thank Dennis for participating and sharing wonderful experiences with us. The next question comes from Alexander S., which happens to be from Texas. He is asking, as an online learner, did you ever feel disconnected, and how did you overcome it? He was wondering if Chelsea could answer that question.
Hi, thank you for that question. So this was not a challenge of mine, but I was recently speaking to a colleague about their online MBA program at a major university. And they said in their classes, they did not interact with the professors. They were interacting very little with other learners. And so that it highlighted just how connected you can be in an online program. At least at Geese, with how it's set up at Geese. It's very intentionally online. So with that global community, I just found there was endless opportunity to intentionally engage and connect. I made a point to perpetually network. So every time there was a breakout room, I wrote down people's names, their locations, their industries. Then I made a point of connecting and following up with those that I clicked with. So you can log on for a live session, talk to no one, not pay attention to the chat, do only what needs to be done on group work. But you're going to miss out on a global network of professionals and experts. So I really believe you are going to get out what you put into your experience.
I love that answer. Thank you so much, Chelsea. And I can see everybody is nodding their head. So I'm guessing that you guys all had a similar sort of experience. And I think that that's really beautiful and definitely a great way to call it out, because you will feel supported and you will feel connected. And that's something that's very important as an online learner. Okay, so I know we've gone over. Thank you all again so much for your generous gift of time and your excellence in sharing your experiences with us. For the last little second, I want everybody that's remaining on our amazing panel to give us one piece of advice you would give to someone considering an online business degree. And I would love to start with Laurent.
You heard me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Yes, the best advice would be to know exactly in advance where you want to go, motivated, and with grit and perseverance, you are able to do that with the best professors, best teaching assistants who will help you. um, as Chelsea said, engage yourself in the live events, even if it's at 1 a.m. We have that chance to share with other colleagues, students and with the professor experience. It's a fantastic emotional journey also to be inside the community and be part of that community even online. So we have also different ways to communicate with Slack, with the office hours. So everybody is connected, and it's a wonderful experience. So with taking in advance with the Coursera Plus, it is I don't know the price exactly, but something like between $40 and $50, maybe, I don't know, each month. But you can already take the course. Then after, when you enroll in the real, I mean, university program course, when you register, then you will have already your pathway through Coursera and with some grades, and you have just to add, of course, the assessments that are not part of the Coursera, but in the university program. So, but it's a lot of advantage, because we need, as adults, we need to organize ourselves and make our journey with our family, with our work, with everything. But it's okay. We can do that. So let's do it.
Love it. Thank you so much. All right, Leonard, I'm going to go to you.
Yeah, one piece, well, it's a bit hard. I think like make sure that the degree that you choose aligns with your overall objectives and your career goals, I think. Make sure that you, yeah, have the backup system. So talk to your close ones, to your families and friends, because you will need that support structure throughout. So I'm very grateful that I had that, so that support. So it's not, yeah, it's really incredible to have that, and you need that at times. And I think then just make the best out of it. Participate, engage with your classmates, and participate in discussions, and yeah, take the leap. So go for it.
That's awesome. All right, Chelsea, I'm coming to you next.
All right, just to build off what Leonard was saying about take the leap, it really is daunting on the other side of it when you're thinking about everything you have going on in your life. And so yes, certainly I understand that trepidation, but if it is a priority for you, you know, you will find the time for it. Like the right time of life, there's never going to be the perfect time to do it. So if you are feeling passionate about it, then you will, the rest of your priorities, you will figure out how to make those fall into place. You will become the expert at time management that you never knew you needed to be. You know, the true priorities are going to rise to the surface, and that's what will sustain you through the very worthwhile effort of pursuing your degree.
Thank you so much. All right, Josh, bring us home.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do it. So I would say that you will experience discomfort, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. Um, it it's challenging you to grow, and you are absolutely worth the investment of your future. So in the times where the schedule gets a little out of whack, at times where the assignment or the course might not be as enjoyable as others, it's just a moment to lean in and really take advantage of the people and the resources that Coursera and the school that you've chosen offer. And you know, turning every stone over and making the most out of those resources are the things that got me through my own college journey. And at the end of the day, you know, you can create every sort of reason to kind of reason your way out of it. But I think that when you kind of change your mindset and think about how you can reason yourself into how you see yourself finishing your program, that that will just kind of unlock new things and give you that new motivation that you need to take it forward.
Thank you so much. And I want to give a big thank you to the entire panel for joining us today. All of the programs are actively recruiting for their next cohort and are eager to review an application from learners just like you. We are over time, so we want to really thank all of the people that have tuned in today to be a part of our webinar. We wish you the best of luck on your learning journey and encourage you to check out the degree pages to learn more about how you can level up your career with a master's or a bachelor's business degree.
And don't forget to get in touch with the enrollment representatives by booking the meetings so that we can further assist. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your day.